Мені 11. Я з України і зараз проживаю у Львові. 14 липня 2022 року ми з мамою були в Вінниці, в Клінці, і туди прилетіло 3 російських ракети. Це був останній раз, коли я бачив свою маму, і це був останній раз, коли я зміг з нею попрощатися.
I will help you, no worries. It was the last time when I saw my mom, and the last time when I was able to say goodbye to her.
Я її побачив притиснутою камінням, і я бачив лише її волосся. Я погладив її волосся і почав боротися. Тоді була кома, більше 100 днів реанімації, 36 операцій і майже 3 роки тяжкого лікування і реабілітації в Німеччині. Хотів вам сказати, що коли ми разом, ми сильні. І щоб ви ніколи не здавалися. Поможіть українським дітям. Thank you. Слава Україні!
Ой. Ой-ой-ой. Все добре, все добре. Все добре, молодець. Давай, кушай. Кушай, кушай.
I got good intentions, believe me. The coldest nigga anemic. Who put this shit together? That be me, myself, and I, bitch. The God, call me Osiris. The sickest like a virus. The golden touch, the Midas. We moving in a forward direction, leaving that bullshit behind us. Shall I adjust the blinders? Them statements at the end of the month are constant reminders. Tell them I've been on the incline, climbing up the ladder. I've been hopping out the Benz, ride pockets getting fatter. Ain't like it even matters. I'm ducking, dodging disasters, jumping out the devil's lasso. I'm bobbing, weaving the hassles. If you motherfuckers trip, then I trip. Now we tripping. I'm rolling up the zip, take a hit, nigga, listen. Where's your foresight, where's your vision? Where's your fucking intuition? Why your key in the ignition, but you still here sitting? Niggas are beating, parking, and complain about the traffic. Unable to make a start, you asking me, that shit is tragic. But that's the Reaper, yeah, that's the Reaper. The devil calling, why he hit me on my beeper? Yeah, but that's the evils, yeah, that's the evils. My intuition kicking in so I can see it. Now that's the Reaper, yeah, so that's the Reaper. My paranoia at an all-time high. I think I see some, yeah, I think I see some, yeah. Close the door, shut the motherfucking blinds.
My mama say I'm on that shit, I need to quit. God is my wit, killing my kidneys. Matter of minutes, matter of fact, I'm going a distance, I might pass out.
Before I tap out, I talked to God, he said go hard, my nigga max out. My paranoia tenfold, I'm really on my shit though. I never break up in no, still in the field, we 10 toes. Popping them like a zit or Mentos, we low like limbos. Make you nuck if you buck, so you should watch out for the elbow. We raising hell in face of L's, I'm French in hell, embrace the smell and make them now. Habitual of usage, somebody say this shit is overkill. We on the ground, we still in line, it's like we roll the rails. We mow the lawn to keep it low, watch out for snakes and snails. My phone tap like the firm, but I call it COINTEL. These niggas stab you in the back and then they wish you well. That's to your face, and when you leave, you know they wish you fell. To compensate with the hate, I put something in the that's air. The Reaper, yeah, that's the Reaper. The devil calling, why he hit me on my beeper? Yeah, but that's the evils, yeah, that's the evils. My intuition kicking in so I can see it. Now that's the Reaper, yeah, so that's the Reaper. My paranoia at an all-time high. I think I see some, yeah, I think I see some, yeah. Close the door, shut the motherfucking blinds.
Wow. Wow, wow, wow. Nice work, High Fidelity. Just retweeting that live stream. This is Heidi Kuda and Jim and high five every to Rad Pod and Not So Chill year in review. High Fidelity, thank you so much for opening up with the clips that you opened with. I would like to remind people that
Oh man, I like it in the middle. During my moment in the time, I've never been in the middle before.
That's not how we do it. Okay, whatever.
Get back in your spot, Jim. Anyway.
It's and chill, remember? We're trying.
Yeah. So I just want to remind everybody that uh, Vladimir Putin and 5 of his other officials have been indicted by the International Criminal Court for human trafficking, for war crimes related to children. More and more headlines are coming out that Ukrainian children are being sent to North Korean camps. Like, this is something that for MAGA, who's supposed to care about saving the children, I wish that they would care also about Ukrainian children, because what you saw was very tragic and very real. And Hi-Fi, why did you feel it was important to open with those particular clips?
Look, man, if you don't realize the evil that Russia is doing, I don't know how to get through to you. If you don't understand that Netanyahu has come out in support of Russia and the shit that he is doing in Gaza is just as bad, I don't know how to get through to you. You got to understand we're fucking up the future and we're letting these monsters do it. Stop it. That's all.
Word. Jim?
Well, I know that the Trump regime literally lobbied the ICC to not prosecute them for war crimes after the administration. It's December of the first fucking year, and they're already pressuring the International Criminal Court not to make them criminals. I wonder why. I wonder why that is. That's probably because they're fucking criminals.
Yeah, probably because they're doing criminal shit, you know?
I mean, you know, it's just like the whole thing at this point is so comical. I mean, not, you know what I mean? The blatantness of it all just boggles me. For me, I've had my head in AI for the last fucking 3 days, and oh my god, like, I knew it was bad, but I didn't know it was as bad as it is. The the entire growth of the American economy in 2025 was data centers. All of it, literally the entire growth of the American economy, if you take out data centers for fucking AI, we're in a recession already. So, first of all, why would Donald Trump be going fucking crazy promoting AI, pushing AI through every fucking channel he possibly can? Because it's literally the hot air balloon holding up his economy. I don't think people realize that 35%, forgive me, but I'm going to get a little wonky, 35% of the S&P 500 is AI. is the not just AI, the Magnificent Seven. 7 companies are 35%. NVIDIA by itself, 7% of the entire market of the S&P. We are betting the farm. There is going to be $3 trillion spent on fucking data centers.
Wow.
They're currently, the Republicans are sitting around in fucking Congress right now, wringing their little hands about how they're going to get out of just fucking letting the subsidies for the Obamacare go through. Right? A minuscule, teeny tiny fraction. So anyway, they're spending $3 trillion over the next 3 years on this bullshit. And I'm telling you right now, it's bullshit. And the revenues are like $50 billion in these teeny tiny little revenues. It makes no fucking sense because it's a giant grift. They're pumping, maybe you've seen the charts where they're just swirling money to each other in a giant circle. I'm going to give you money for data centers and you're going to give me money for software and I'm going to give it back to you. It's just a fucking whirlpool. And it's in the fucking trillions of dollars. And they're trying to suck up the entire market with it. This thing, I'm telling you, has the potential to be 1929, certainly 2000.
Wow.
And Donald Trump is sitting here giving away our AI technology to China. First of all, that's how desperate they are to keep this fucking bubble afloat. Is Donald Trump just signed a deal to give away NVIDIA's top chipset. It's called the H200, which can do anything that any of these chips can do. We're literally giving it to them in exchange for 25% of the deal. America gets 25% like a good socialist fucking country. So Trump is literally doing like trillions of dollars in damage to our country in order to please the PayPal mafia around him and to get a fucking piece of it. Because his sons are running around investing in AI companies and crypto schemes and all of this shit that's propped up by this fucking whirlpool. Final piece of this puzzle, and I'm writing a long article about it. Sorry if I'm focused. But the U.S. military, fucking military, Pete Hegseth, just sent out a memo that says AI should be your teammate. It should be in your battle rhythm every day, quote unquote. If anybody has ever used AI in their fucking life, you know how absolutely bonkers batshit that is. I use AI. I use it all the time because it's helpful as a fancy search tool. That's what it is.
Right.
Make no fucking mistake. It's a fancy search
Right.
tool. But it can give you it gives 30% of the time, 15%, whatever. You pick your number. It hallucinates shit. Moreover, it can be absolutely infected with disinformation and bullshit. Just take a look at Grok.
And it is, not just can be.
I'm almost done. The U.S. fucking military now requires, per Hegseth executive order, that millions of members, all millions of them, all of them, have to use this fucking technology that may or may not tell them the truth. It is impossible to. I have a list. I asked AI why it's a dumb fucking idea to allow or require our military members to put AI in their battle rhythm, and it spit out a list like, I'll publish it today. It's fucking crazy. Even it knows how crazy it is.
Wow.
So I'm putting that out there because we got lots of pictures from Epstein Island and shit. We all know he's a fucking pedophile. In the meantime, we're being absolutely pillaged of trillions of fucking dollars while they make us have measles and take away our fucking health insurance. So that is my initial rant for the day. Thank you for coming tonight.
Well, I mean, somebody who went bankrupt half a dozen times and had to keep getting bailed out by the Russian mob. It's not surprising that somebody like that would actually destroy our economy. This is somebody who has been doing everything he can to destroy our institutions. And that is why, of course, he's going after the International Criminal Court, which you opened with. I have an article on that tomorrow running in my byline column, with amazing observations by people who actually sat in during trials at The Hague and can tell you that these are actually very important moments in time, because this is a place that documents the truth about war and war crimes. And of course, unfortunately, it moves slowly. And in the case of the former Yugoslavia, I was speaking with somebody who had documented the trials there. She said that only 10% of the accused actually gets prosecuted, which isn't enough. But I was thinking to myself, if 10% of the accused got prosecuted at the highest levels in America, that would actually be very helpful. That might give us a reprieve from these monsters for a while. So clearly, and I got incredible quotes from a Croatian politician, a former foreign minister there, who gave multiple reasons on why Trump would do this. But of course, what they want is a world where it's divided among the strong and the weak, and they are trying every which way they can to disrupt the international rules-based order. And ICC right now is still holding on, and I hope it does, because it might be our last defense against what this immunity that Trump has been granted.
I'm looking forward to the movie Nuremberg. I find the timing of it to be apt, right? It's an important moment, both as a success in the sense that it actually brought visibility, but also in the sense as a failure, because so many dangerous Nazis ended up just flitting away into the fucking darkness. And sadly, the descendants of many of them are currently, be plaguing us. Is that a word? Be plaguing. It should
It
be.
sure is now. You can make words up.
That's
That word is
plaguing
now
us.
gonna have that word's gonna have to now be plaguing. We are plagued.
We are
I
being
see the
egged by the
I see the
PayPal mafia.
high fidelity. I see the we
The finger is going to be
It
plagued.
disappeared. I'm going to take everyone to a happy place. I'm being sarcastic. I just,
Me too, actually.
Like,
there are people in our audience who remember the recession and the bubble burst in 2007, 2008, right? And you remember the TARP program, where a lot of undeserving, corrupt people got billions of dollars from the United States government. And you remember how bad things sucked during that time, how you didn't really have money for stuff. You didn't go out, you didn't go to the theater, you didn't do anything. Kind of like where we're going now. But imagine what's going to happen. The money involved in the AI fiasco, just going back to what Jim had said earlier, that dwarfs, it absolutely dwarfs what was going on with the mortgage scandal. And during that, 2007, 2008, the
Right.
market,
It's
you know,
fair.
the average American household lost $70,000 in lifetime earnings because of that bullshit brought on by our financial wizards, fucking things up. What's going to happen with AI if we don't rein this crap in is going to make that look absolutely like nothing. And the only thing I can think to explain to people what Trump is going to do to our country is look at Russia, right? And we look at Russia and we see Moscow and we see St. Petersburg and we're like, oh, that doesn't look so bad. It looks relatively civilized. They got people going to clubs. They got pretty girls, blah, blah, blah. But no, I mean, talk about Russia outside of Moscow and St. Petersburg. And what you will find is people living in the conditions that peasants lived in under the Russian monarchy.
Mhm.
They don't have toilets in their home. They don't have running water. You think your utilities are going to stand up if everything falls apart? Probably not. That's what the PayPal mafia and Trump and the Russians want for America. You think rural America is hurting now? What's it going to be when like all these farms are just fiefdoms and you're basically a sharecropper? Wake up, America, or you're just done. Wake the fuck up, please. Anyway,
Well,
that was my happy thought.
That
I
was that Hi-Fi's happy place.
Happy
I think
place.
a lot of people are waking up at this point, right? It's about what the fuck are we going to do about it, right?
Yeah,
So here's a
right.
thought. Here's a thought. And I've had this thought a lot recently. The American media will not expose Trump and Russia. We need foreign media. We need the BBC. We need, French media, German, Austrian, whatever European media we can get that will penetrate the American information sphere, we need. And Europe sees it now. Europe realizes, oh boy, we're kind of fucked. Expose Trump for us. Expose Trump Russia for us. Expose Russia
Oh,
war for us, please.
we absolutely need Europe to step in and step up in many ways. And the other thing that's really important is in the breaking story on the ICC we've been talking about, which I think Reuters broke on Thursday. Um, it's really important to know that they have the power to prosecute sitting presidents, sitting leaders. They do not have to wait until the leader is out of office. So I'm basically begging anybody in positions of power to apply pressure because I said this last week. Do you guys remember in 2016 and 2017 when Trump was endorsing the president of the Philippines, Duterte's uh, crimes of murdering people in the streets, basically, in his so-called war on drugs. And Trump was calling him and saying, hey, great job that you're doing. Well, that is why Duterte's at The Hague awaiting trials on war crimes or crimes against humanity because of those killings, those murders in his so-called war on drugs. And a decade ago, Trump was cheering him on. Well, the America is doing basically the same thing. So again, we can apply pressure too. One thing I do want to say in good news, I think, is that and also thanks to all the friends that supply us and feed us news, it makes it so much easier when you're trying to put these reports together because I've got so many funnels and I'm sure you guys do as well. So just a shout out to people who from all over the world give us breaking news. This is Estonia yesterday, actually today, sentenced pro-Russian politicians to prison terms for high treason. So they basically are like pro-Russian politicians. And listen to what some of the doing. So one of the leaders of the pro-Russian party was sentenced to 14 years in prison, two others 11 years. Two were found guilty of high treason. I bring this up because it's interesting that the court found that one of the things that they proved was the fact that they were running around basically interfering in, propaganda trips and the creation of propaganda materials. And the whole point was to weaken support for Ukraine and Estonia. And again, I bring this up because what have we been seeing happening all over the world? In the UK, they just prosecuted one of their Russian propagandists, a politician linked to Reform UK. Now, basically opening up many more, avenues and investigations to look and probe politicians there doing pro-Russian work. It's very important that Estonia, which was ground zero for the first cyber attacks from Russia, which I think occurred in the mid 2000s, you know, they're not just going, are they or aren't they? Are they doing Russian shit? And should we be worried about our democracy? No, they're prosecuting these guys and putting them in prison. So I think it's very, very important to pay attention to what parts of the world are actually hitting back.
Yeah, I mean, unfortunately, we're on the wrong side of that transaction. Right? We are literally the allies of the fucking Russians now. I
Which is
wanted
why
to,
the ICC is so important, which is why he's going
yeah,
after the
well,
ICC.
I wanted to follow up on the Duterte thing. Speaking of, you know, criminals, you know, who have smaller countries, and wrapping back to AI, I saw a tweet that just blew my fucking mind in the like, where have we gone kind of thing. Katie fucking Miller, Stephen Miller's wife, praising Grok because Grok is now required tutoring for everybody in El Salvador,
Oh,
for all
God.
fucking public school children
Jesus
in
Christ.
fucking El Salvador. Grok.
I'm going to
And
go with
Katie Miller, hold on. Katie Miller is, Grok is the only based AI. Why would you want to have your kids on liberal leaning AI? This is a very important component of this. Remember, what did they do with social media? Fucking got in early, polluted the shit out of it, and used it to manipulate us into doing their fucking bidding. What are they doing with AI? Who's one of the primary investors in OpenAI? Peter fucking Thiel. Just where's the button? Damn it! It was so right. How do you not press the button right there? Anyway, Peter Thiel was an investor in Facebook and OpenAI because he knows that the entire game is the epistemology, is how do we fucking learn from the world. And from the very beginning, these psychopaths have correctly realized that the easiest way to get their minority insane ideas through is to fucking con people into doing stuff,
Right.
to literally pollute the entire infosphere so that people feel like they're making the right decisions, right? And now they're trying to, they're playing this exact, it's a replay, but this time they're not being covert about it. That's the remarkable thing. It's not like Cambridge Analytica, remember, it was all secret. We weren't supposed to find out about it and shit.
Didn't
Now they're
dare,
just
didn't.
like, we're gonna make some fucking racist AI and you're gonna have to fucking, like, it's like that. So what's gonna happen here, mark my words, is Gemini, Microsoft Gemini, which is the first model in at the Department of Defense War, is the first model that they're using. The second one will be Grok, and over time they'll figure out some narrative where Grok is now going to be the official fucking AI of the Department of War. Mark my words. The whole point of all of this is to create what I have called epistemological totalitarianism. It means seizing the means of knowledge. If they control your social media, they control your news channels, which is what they're trying to do. He's trying to get CNN to get rolled over to Ellison. They control your fucking AI results, right? At some point, you just don't have any other information, and that is what they had in the Soviet Union for decades, and that is what they're trying to do here. The good news is I don't think any of this shit is working right now. I'm actually been pretty impressed at what I'm seeing in terms of kind of the backbone of the American people. But they're really not fucking around with trying to eliminate people's ability to reality test anywhere, including AI. So, by the way, kids are killing themselves. Don't fucking let your kids on these companion apps and shit. I read a statistic that scared the shit out of me.
Right.
72% of teenagers have used companion AI. Over 50%, 52% use it regularly. And something like 30% use it daily. These things are psychological traps. I've used it a lot. They suck you in. They want you to make you think you're so smart. They try it. It's like it's a dangerous fucking thing because it has no conscience. It has no mind. All it knows how to do is see patterns in the data and then feed them back to you. It is a pure, even purer version of what they already did with social media. So just please be very careful with your kids around this shit. Not because, by the way, last thing, this is important, and good news, in a way, good news, bad news. LLMs, which is the current technology that they use for AI, is a dead end. I am telling you right now. I've sensed it for years, and nothing has proven it more than what I've seen over the last several years. They keep coming out with these new versions, and it's gonna be so intelligent now, and it's not, and it's never going to be. And there's a very basic reason. It's because it's just taking a bunch of shit that we said and recombining it. It's just mimicking us, right? So it has no way to grow outside of that. So all it's doing is sitting there and illuminating, and then it starts making content based on our own shit, and then it incorporates that into its shit, and it becomes this sort of pile of garbage, which is what is more and more happening. So in my view, that $3 trillion that they're putting out there is who's using this shit? Where is the giant application for this? It's nice. It helps you with your writing a little bit. It's not like fucking God or something. So anyway, the point being that we're gonna hit a giant iceberg in terms of AI. But the good news is, as far as I can tell, and I am deep in this stuff for 30 years, it's not going to kill us or anything. Like unless they start putting it in the kill chain, right? Unless they start having AI like make decisions for us. As long as we don't buy that, as long as we don't go that route, we'll be okay.
I think it's really important to note, since we're on the subject of Grok, that it's been pushing Russian propaganda, and it is a disinformation machine when it comes to pushing all of the pro-Kremlin sites that have been sanctioned, sites that have been blocked. And so to me, it just makes perfect sense that America, which has been aligning itself with Russia, would actually be pushing it institutionally on people. Because again, the Soviet Union was the greatest, social engineering experiment in history, according to Marcy Shore. But in the last 26 years, last 2 decades since Putin's been in power, they locked down access to information. You can't get accurate history that has been locked down in Russia. You have to get only state sanctioned history. There are things that you don't even know, like World War II only began in 1941, not 1939. There's all kinds of manipulations that occur. And so I think when Jim he's talking about massive ways to manipulate people's thinking experience, realities and trying to socially engineer people. So again, I think, Jim, you're a little bit optimistic because you don't think it's going to work. I am not as optimistic because the people who are aligned pushing this stuff know exactly what they're doing. They've always been ahead of us. I think they also know how dangerous it can be. And that's why you align with autocrats like Putin. That's the person you want in charge. When people finally figured out, that their minds and freedoms are being stolen by people who are doing it strategically to control the population.
Yeah. I just look, there's 30% of the population that still, despite all this shit, is, is dug in. I think a lot of those people just, they're low information voters and just have that sort of baked in. They went to a Trump rally or something like that. Now they're just MAGA from now on until somebody tells them different, right? But there is a good 15-20%, I'm guessing, that are hardcore actually brainwashed right now. But I don't, what I don't see is like an increase. I'm not seeing that they're making gains. In fact, I'm seeing quite the opposite, right? Earlier in the year, like, it felt like this sort of inevitable force, everybody's going to be fucking, brainwashed now. But as Trump is fallen apart, and I think that's an important, if they had somebody more competent in there, I think we'd be completely fucked. Completely and utterly fucked.
Vance.
But nobody likes Vance. Nobody. I mean, if Trump wasn't if Trump's magic is that people have been brainwashed about him for 10 fucking years. Vance doesn't have that. So if Trump goes, there's a whole different world, and we're talking about a whole different set of things. But in the meantime, right, like Trump's disintegration, and boy howdy, man, this guy is fucking dying. I'm sorry, but they're pumping him full of shit, and he's dying. I don't know how fast, but and that both psychologically and physically, right? And these pictures are coming out, and everybody's sort of pulling away from him, and you see these factions forming all over the place, and everybody's getting ready for post-Trump. So I feel like there are a lot of things against us. They've managed to implement like 2/3 of Project 2025 already.
Yeah.
But we're still fucking here. I don't know. I'm still here. We're still alive, and I see people that might have been on the margins, might have been a little squishy. I don't see them squishy anymore at all. Like people I know that, maybe weren't quite so ideological or fucking ideological now, because it's hitting them in their health insurance, their kids. People are getting measles again.
I know.
What the fuck?
Right.
What is happening?
Yeah.
Like you
That's
got this idiot
intentional.
you got like blowing up people in the fucking ocean. Nobody voted for that shit.
Yeah.
Nobody voted for us going and seizing oil tankers in the middle of the ocean.
Right.
Nobody voted for that shit, even MAGA. And so I think the constellation of all of these different, because what's happening now is Trump has shrunk into this narcissistic fucking shell, right? He's just worried about Epstein and trying to keep his thing going, right? And the more he does that, the more the influence of his advisors comes in, right? So we're in a very dangerous spot where everything that's happening now is his advisors. He has no fucking idea what's going on. Just listen to him. All he knows is the few bits that get put in his head. And that is a dangerous spot, because it means there's no accountability for actually what comes out of this guy at all. Because You know, he's just a psychological mirror for his own narcissism and for the psychopaths that he brought in around.
Yeah. Michael McKay, who we had on last week, said something really interesting about, uh, Russian officials and how there can be so much incompetence, but that does not um, make them any less dangerous. And I think we're facing the same thing in America. We can look and point to gross incompetence and conflicting narratives, but I think when people are that kind of just damaged in their thinking, that they can be incredibly dangerous because they're not going to stop. They got nothing to lose. We have to stop them. And that is why I keep on going back to the ICC. We need help from Europe. It's so incredibly important. Europe not only needs to save itself, but we need whatever help that we can get. And one thing I'd love to uh, bring people's attention to is I've been doing a ton of work with a Ukrainian historian, and I think it's really important that we see what I call fascist clickbait all the time on Twitter. They want us to look at these horror events. They want us to be in fear all the time, despair, etc. Interview Ukrainians, talk to people who actually have the lived experience of dealing with Russia. And my latest report with her does just an incredible job of showing how Russia tries to format identities and is trying to rule the world through a war and how to do it and how to protect yourself and family members. It's my pinned post at Betty Dangerous, and it's called An Undeclared War for All Mankind. This is a deep, incredible dive translated from Ukrainian, based on actual memos from the political technologists that she dug up from Russia. So it's translated from Russian, translated from ultimately Ukrainian. And once you kind of understand the game of it and how they do it, I think it's going to be much easier to begin inoculating yourself from it, but you have to understand it to begin the inoculation process. So keep on, I'm personally going to keep on mining Ukrainian people with lived experience. We should probably get to some of our clips, our year in review. This is supposed to be our year in review. I guess each need to talk about that for a minute, but I see the big finger up. So let's
The
get
finger is
ready.
up because I need to just, like, you talk about people need facts and maybe there's something that will wake them up. I just need to talk about this. The General Assembly of the United Nations, they want the kids back in Ukraine because reports have come out that Russia is sending these kids to North Korea. Like they're
Yeah.
being sent to re-education camps. Their whole culture is being erased. And here's the problem. The United States, China, Iran, Russia, all the baddies, right? All the baddies in the UN, they voted no. So if you're out there and you really believe it's about saving children, obviously not, right? Anyway,
We are the axis of evil.
yeah,
We're trying to start a new fucking G5 with China, Russia, India.
yeah. And here's the thing: people are like, India. Why is India like this? Most people don't think of India as a bad country, but here's the thing: Modi had a tell, all right, and that tell was the 2020 Delhi riots, in which Facebook played a massive part. All right. If you see leaders utilizing social media to manipulate their populations to violence, that's one of the tells of what's going on right now. Anyway, here is our first clip in review. It's Serena's film. It's from her film, Human Safari.
A little dream of
Началась война. Обстріл, просто какой-то хаос в городе.
Всі хотіли воювати, були готові воювати там з лопатою, з ножом, з палкою, з охотничьим ружьом.
тисячі херсонців на центральній площі.
Вообще жесть, вылезти на русский БТР.
Я тоже не бессмертна, но не страх, а злость.
По ночам ходили, стреляли просто потому, что пьяные были.
С той стороны не выпускали поехать в Херсон. И под автоматами.
И я теперь такой, знаешь, такой свобода.
Весь город, грубо говоря, это большой тир, а ты в нем мишень.
Так кто же там взорвал? Зачем взорвали? Русские взорвали. Ого! Ебать!
Сафарі на людей йде.
Здається, як дуже багато бджіл. Насправді це дрони.
Не вспіли, може кинути.
Они говорят, что они победили нацизм? Нет. Они забрали его себе.
Пока мир спит, мы здесь умираем.
You know, I think we should take up a collection, and after Russia is defeated and dissembled as a state, I think we should probably put up a statue of Zarina in Kherson.
She would never have that. She's the
No,
most
so,
humble person. She
but
would
I think-
never have.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, I mean, basically, Zarina always, if you try to talk to her about her bravery and the amazing work she's doing, she will always deflect and say it's about the people who are brave are the people of Ukraine, the people of Kherson. She will always state that. But I do want to say, when we talk about people being in despair or demoralized or whatever, look at to Zarina Zabriskie and know that one person can make a huge difference. She kept reporting on the human safari happening in Kherson. Finally, many reports have come out now from the UN and Human Rights Watch based on work that she delivered to them. And they have now documented these are crimes against humanity. These are war crimes. More importantly, at the moment, Zarina came up with the idea of using a technique that the Russian propagandists do by having rallies. And now there are rallies. She's taken their techniques and applying them to pro-democracy values. There are rallies all over the world happening next week to try to put a spotlight on the crimes going on in Kherson. And you can find out where the rallies are, humansafari.org. Bottom line is that 45 countries, I think there's going to be 45 rallies on 4 different continents. I don't know how many cities. And also she's going to be in Washington this week, meeting with lawmakers, raising awareness. So I am incredibly proud, to know her. And Jim, what were you going to say?
I have no idea. It was a long time ago.
I just got so excited.
Oh, I know. I was going to point out the guy, the Ukrainian soldier who said that the Russians didn't defeat Nazism; they appropriated it.
Yeah,
That is,
brilliant.
It's not just brilliant; it's fucking true. Like
Yeah,
literally true. I don't think First of all, to just a little history. The Nazis, in many ways, appropriated from the Russians to begin with.
oh yeah,
The Russians were the ones who created the protocols of the Elders of Zion, which was used by the White Army after World War I, which, by the way, that propaganda is what sent my grandparents over here. And they reused the protocols, which then filtered up into Hitler, filtered to Henry Ford in the United States. And so, then after that, what happens? Stalin starts using anti-Semitic propaganda. I don't think people realize, like, Stalin went full fucking Nazi, especially towards the end, going to hunt down Jewish doctors in Moscow, you know, and then Putin has taken it to a whole different level. He brought in Alexander Dugin, who's been a fan of National Socialism for a long fucking time, the actual National Socialism. And Dugin is the one who has been putting together the entire kind of, you know, ideological strategy behind it. And Putin's Russian intelligence services have been seeding Nazi groups for decades, including, last thing, if you've heard this, you know, here it is again, Iron March. Iron March is where Atomwaffen, where blanking on all the names of the Nazi
the base.
The base, yes. The original Nazi Azov battalion that is now has nothing to do with Azov, but is the reason why there's all this propaganda. That was started on Iron March. How was Iron March started? A guy graduated from Moscow, from MDIMO, which is the training ground for Russian spies, and then immediately went and started doing youth protests, and then started a fucking website called Iron March, which incubated Nazi groups in at least 10 countries. So these motherfuckers have been you know, playing both sides of this for a long time.
Oh, the Ukrainian historian interviewing, basically, oh God, she said so many things, but bottom line is that Stalin built concentration camps first, and Hitler got his ideas from Stalin, and we know so little about that because Stalin's history has been whitewashed and the reality has been whitewashed. And even she, growing up with academics and historians in her family, only learned about Stalin's man-made famine in 2003. You can read all about the reports I've been doing with her on my Substack. It's incredibly important to note that in Russia, and I can't even imagine being able to go online and not be able to access your own history. She said history now in Russia is treated like a religion. It's just one of the things that have been weaponized, and people don't know their own history. And she has written many books and worked with Anne Applebaum, so you can find out the reality of Russian history. And she even said the name, the Soviet Union, was the greatest lie of the 20th century. It was always the Russian state. That name was, you know, devised in order to make it look like this was democratic, but it never was. It's just an extension of empire. So much to learn. Yes, Jim.
I was just going to say, we have our own whitewash history from that same period. I wrote a couple articles that address this, which is eugenics. America was deeply enthralled with eugenics, and when you really start looking at it, it's actually remarkable how well it has been erased from the American consciousness. And importantly, speaking of people who inspired the Nazis, it was our eugenics programs and our immigration policies which Hitler admired. I want to bring something up because I wrote about it, and I think it's important for people to kind of get, just in case they see it. You might have heard Donald Trump talk about people from Norway and Sweden and Denmark that he wants to bring into America instead of from shithole countries, right? Well, Elon Musk cried the other day about the German Nordics who had been displaced allegedly by Somalis. And then Stephen Miller on Fox the same day, all at the same time, brought up the Immigration Act of 1924. So to tie this together, the Immigration Act of 1924 is based on eugenics. It is based on one of the most notorious eugenics books of in American history, called The Passing of the Great Race in 1916, in which the Nordics are the master race. You may have heard the term master race. It was this motherfucker who invented the term master race. And it was his book. It was him personally writing letters and corresponding with the senator who wrote the Immigration Act about which countries we should let in and which countries we should not, because of their IQ, because of their propensity to commit crimes, because of all the exact same shit that Stephen Miller and Donald Trump and all these guys are talking about. But Miller brought it up and approvingly talked about the Immigration Act of 1924 and said, in fact, we had some some countries that had been here for a long time, but then other countries from Europe were coming here, and it was causing crime, it was causing chaos. It's like, bro, that was your family. Literally, he's an Eastern European Jew like me, like half of me. And he's sitting there on TV talking about these other Europeans that are his ancestors that we shouldn't have let in because they were criminals at the time. So that right now is currently openly being spread around as if it's somehow fucking legitimate. This 1916 eugenics bullshit is currently being spread around by the regime and their propagandists as immigration policy.
Well, it's all out in the open now. Again, as Michael McKay said, when Hi-Fi's like, why does Trump have his son-in-law in the, meetings of the so-called peace talks, which McKay called the, Russian war wish list. And he said, because it's a meeting of crime bosses. And basically it's all out in the open. It's like literally like it's, what's the Trump family and his oligarchs going to get out of this? It's none of
Well,
this
he
is
said Kushner, for fuck's sake. He said Kushner
Yeah, no.
is.
Yeah.
What the fuck?
Because it's just a meeting of crime bosses. We know the history.
It's so crazy.
Like,
Did you see that there were secret meetings between the Ukrainian peace negotiator and Kash Patel and Dan Bongino?
Yeah. Dan Bongino, who's banned from YouTube for being a liar.
Well,
that guy.
Well, and Kash Patel sued me. But also, the FBI, like, he was also, just the other day, he was in Qatar giving a Tommy gun to his counterpart in Qatar, talking about doing cross training. They fucking like hang people in the town square. They cane people. They torture people. They don't let women drive or fucking show their face. It's incredible stuff, man. Like, this guy who was paid by the way, by Qatar, according to his own disclosure forms. The fucking embassy of Qatar paid him for years, over the last several years, for something. And now he's over there with a fucking Tommy gun, like, doing cross training. Like, why is our domestic investigations chief in Qatar or talking to the Ukrainian peace negotiator. What the fuck? Anyway.
Yeah, thank you for that TED Talk, Jim. So
I'm full of them today.
We're going to go a little bit long, kids. I hope that's okay with you because I'd like to see all 3 of the remaining clips because they're very important. And then each of us think about the summary line you want to say for our year in review. We've mostly been talking about current breaking news, but this is all related to work that we've been doing for 4 years. So important stuff. Just hype the trailer for Zarina film, and I just wanted to make sure I said that. And anybody can watch the film in its entirety for free at HersonHumanSafari.com. So please go there. You'll see opportunities to donate directly to the people and causes in Kherson. I had the distinct honor of being an executive producer on that film, and she's working on 2 additional projects right now, focusing on the women warriors of Ukraine and that history, that rich history. So pretty excited about everybody having the opportunity to see the first film and people opportunity to rally in support of Kherson this coming week. Hi-Fi, let's see another clip.
We know from our friend Tom Carter the outsized influence that Leonard Leo has had. He's sort of known as the SCOTUS whisperer, but clearly his tentacles reach out to Opus Dei in every direction. And maybe this is a good time to remind people of how many people around Trump who actually worked in his administration were either openly members of Opus Dei or certainly affiliated. Because again, it's when we talk about them using spirituality for power, we're talking about power at the highest levels.
Yeah, the influence that Opus Dei has in a town like Washington, D.C. is absolutely staggering. I mean, the center of Opus Dei's operations in Washington, D.C. is this place called the Catholic Information Center. And just on the board of that one little kind of center in central DC, you have Leonard Leo, who, as you were just saying, is basically the architect of this conservative takeover of the US Supreme Court and all the consequences that come from that. You know, obviously Roe v. Wade, but you know, there've been so many rulings since then that are really shifting really kind of reshaping American society. You've got people like Bill Barr, who was Attorney General under, during the first Trump administration. You've got people like Mick Mulvaney, who was the kind of the budget chief in the first Trump administration. People like Pat Cipollone, who was the White House chief counsel. And just coming back to Leonard Leo, I mean, he's very supportive of Opus Dei's I guess the Opus Dei network in the States, and he's been giving money to various Opus Dei initiatives. He's also behind this initiative to really expand the Opus Dei school network right across the US. The Opus Dei school network is a primary place where it recruits not just kids, but also the parents. It attracts all of these these elite families, especially in DC. It operates 2 schools. It's got about, I think it's 6 or 7 schools across the US, but they want to expand that to around 40. And, it's part of what Leonard Leo talks about, this reshaping of the culture of society. And they want to do that. They've already had great success in the courts and in politics, and they're now turning to the worlds of entertainment, education, the media. They really envisage like a complete takeover of American society and culture.
Thank you for that. That, of course, was Gareth Gore, who wrote the book Opus. As we all know, the media coup came first, and then came the judicial coup with half a dozen right-wing extremists, Catholic extremists on our Supreme Court, which granted Trump his wish of immunity as president. Let's just see one more clip since we're going so late today. Who do we have? We got Mark Shore, or who else?
we have to keep speaking out, even if it doesn't seem effective. We cannot put our heads down and get in line. And this is something I feel as a historian looking back at the 1930s. You know, the fact is that most people, most of the time, will put their heads down and get in line. And there was Vance tweeted right around the time of the inauguration that my husband, Tim Snyder, was an embarrassment to Yale, where we're faculty members. We've long been faculty members. And what terrified me was not that Vance tweeted this, but that none of my colleagues, and especially my colleagues in the law school, publicly spoke up to defend him. And not because I suspected they really liked Vance or were on their side, and not because I suspected the university administration, you know, who I know loves Tim, was on his side, but because I feel like there are moments where people become interested in the self-preservation of the institution. Where Masha Gessen just wrote a great piece where she said, you know, what it's rational to put one's head down and not protest, because in any individual case, you're taking risk and bearing cost. But those actions that are rational to appease and to obey on an individual level are precisely what makes tyranny possible.
What a brilliant place to end on.
I got nothing. I got nothing, man.
Yeah, she's amazing.
That's all.
She's amazing. My only thought I wanted to say about the year in review is, like Jim said early in the in this live stream, is that we are still here. Something to be said for that. We are still here. We are doing this work. Our allies are still doing this work globally, and that means something. And if Trump is going after the ICC in order to try to remove any possibility of them prosecuting him, well, that's an admission of guilt, and that is a weakness, and that is a place that we can apply pressure. So looking back at this year, the only thing I can say is we're still here.
Okay, I'm coming in now. I'm going to wrap everything up.
Oh, God.
If you go back through our shows, we've been through a hell of a lot of information for people. We've given them the religious elements involved. We've given them some of the cyber elements involved, everything from hackers to giant corporations like Palantir and Cambridge Analytica. We've talked about different politicians around the world who have been corrupted by Russia and who obviously now, people like Viktor Orban, right? Fitzo, we've got, all sorts of people that we've talked about in this show. There's a lot going on. Just kind of take a step back and just kind of look at the globe and realize there's a war on. It's a huge global war. It's a class war. Russia's the front man. China's involved. India's involved. Saudi Arabia's involved. The UAE's involved. But that's okay, because we're coming to the time of year when everything kind of slows down and people have good thoughts. And I am going to ask Europe for a gift. Dear Europe, if you're listening, all I want for Christmas is a giant information warfare bomb to blow America back to its senses. And I'm going to leave with one of my favorite Christmas songs by Tom Waits. But I'm not going to do the Tom Waits version because I like this cover a little bit better. And it's a Christmas card from a hooker in Minneapolis.
Charlie, I'm pregnant, living on 9th Street, right above a dirty bookstore off Euclid Avenue. I stopped taking dope and I quit drinking whiskey. My old man plays the trombone and works out at the track. He says that he loves me, even though it's not his baby. He says that I'll raise him up like he would his own son. He gave me a ring that was worn by his mother, and he takes me out dancing every Saturday night. Charlie, I think about you every time I pass a filling station. On account of all the grease you used to wear in your hair, I still have that record of Little Anthony and the Imperials. But someone stole my record player. How do you like that? Hey Charlie, I almost went crazy after Mario got busted. Went back to Omaha to live with my folks, and everyone I used to know was either dead or in prison. So I came back to Minneapolis. This time I think I'm gonna stay. Hey Charlie, I think I'm happy for the first time since my accident. I wish I had all the money we used to spend on dope. I'd buy me a used car lot, and I wouldn't sell any of them. I just drive a different car every day, depending on how I feel. Hey Charlie, for God's sakes, do you want to know the truth of it? I don't have a husband, and he don't play the trombone. I need to borrow some money to pay this lawyer, and Charlie, I'll be eligible for parole come Valentine's Day.